Hey everyone, Necromancer here. I'm going to be telling you all what the reason I changed my name from King of 9X 2003 to what it is now, which is Necromancer. Well, most of you will have probably figured it out by now, but I'd like to tell all of you why, for those of you who haven't figured it out yet. In a part to being a magician, I am now also a furry. So, furry magician. Yeah, big surprise. So you're probably thinking, well, how do you go from being a magician to uh, being a furry? Well, the story of how I found the fandom was, it happened actually in August of 2015. I was coming home from my local amusement park in BC, which is called Playland, or more specifically, it was during the PNE of 2015, which is short for Pacific National Exhibition. And basically, when I was coming home from the park, I was on the bus going to the SkyTrain. For those of you who don't know what a SkyTrain is, it's basically like a subway that you find in like New York. So yeah, I was coming home and I was on the bus, and across the street I saw two fursuiters. I didn't know what they were when I first saw them, but with some research I found out they were called fursuits. And yeah, basically I did like a triple take. I did not know what I saw there. And yeah, so basically I get home and I go on to Google and I type in, I don't really remember, but it was something like animal costumes or something like that. And after a little bit of research, I found the term fursuit, which is basically furry costume. And yeah, basically for over a year, I spent researching furries. Now, the first stuff that I found about furries, unfortunately, was the CSI episode for furries. And when I saw the episode, I was like, okay, I am highly skeptical that furries are like these people. So I dug a lot deeper, and I started researching everything that furries do, and like if there's conventions, which there is a lot, and what they do. And for the most part, we are basically just people who are fans of anthropomorphic animals. Anthropomorphic is basically, anthropomorphic animals are basically animals with human characteristics. So basically like Looney Tunes, certain Disney movies, Zootopia, for instance, and so on and so forth. So some of us have what we call fursuits. Some of us, like me, don't. Now you're probably thinking, well, what about that last video that I saw you with? If you watched the entire video, you'll know that the fursuit that I was suiting up in, well, blindfolded. Yeah, I was an idiot. that was actually one of my friend's fursuits that I borrowed from him. His name is Rainrat. And gotta say, I'm going to be linking this to chat I'm on now where I talk with him. Rainrat, gotta thank you so much for letting me borrow your fursuit. Well, one of your fursuits. So, this is his fursuit. Well, part of his fursuit. This right here is Marcus. I believe the story about Marcus over here is that he won the head and then got the rest of it built around that head. I think that was back in 2004. So this thing is almost... Oh, wait, no. I think it was 2003. So that fursuit is nearly 15 years old now. Can't believe it. Still looks amazing, though. And, yeah, basically, he... After doing some research about furries and finding out about them, I found out that there was a convention in BC called Vancouver. And yeah, basically, I actually got to go to it for the first time this year. As if you take a look at like one of my earlier videos back in March of this year, you'll see a video of me filming this thing that we call the Fursuit Parade. And basically it's people in the fandom that, get dressed up in their fursuits and, walk around to the convention hotel. It's one of the highlights for most people. And, yeah, basically, after a while, I decided, okay, I think I'm ready to join the fandom now. I've researched them for over a year, so it's time for me to find out if there's an actual, website or a group of people that live in BC that I can, talk to, get to know. And yeah, basically, after a little bit of research, I found out there was a website for furries that live in BC. And I joined it, and one of the first people that I got to talk to, actually I think he was the first, was Rainrat. And he invited me to a bunch of events, which we call fur meets. So basically furry meetups. And the first one he mentioned was sushi. So basically on a nearly weekly basis, bunch of furries will meet up at a sushi restaurant near my house. So I went to that, and he also invited me to this other one called Wings and Things. So, and I have not been to that one yet. I might eventually. I'm not sure yet. And the third one was his game night. And it's basically at this household that a bunch of furries live at. And that's kind of sporadic at times, but basically we meet up and play board games, video games. A lot of times we play Jackbox. And yeah, a lot of fun, and get to hang out with like-minded people. And yeah, so basically, I actually got to go to that furry convention back in March, and I was actually I actually got to do a panel at this convention, and it was called Necromancers Magic Hour, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got to meet some of my fellow fluff butts, and I actually told them about how I found the fandom, which is what I'm doing here right now. And I actually got to show some of my magic tricks, and I also got to teach them some magic tricks that you can actually do. Well, actually, one magic trick that you are able to do while in a fursuit. If you see those hands, trying to manipulate anything ain't easy. I know. And yeah, so you're probably thinking, well, why, did you gravitate towards furries? Other than seeing a couple fursuiters walking down the streets of Vancouver. Well, as you know, I have been a member of a couple of different magic clubs. The first one I joined is one of the biggest magic clubs in the world. Last I checked, there was over 100 members. And, I've been a member there for 7 years now. And I have had to fight tooth and nail for 7 years to get people to, the members there, to respect me. There are a couple. Let's say a few. But the rest of them, they tolerate me, but I wouldn't consider them good friends. And that's about the time that I started researching about furries. And when I joined back in November of last year, November 2016, and I went to that first fur meet with the sushi night, I was instantly welcomed. And I have never been a part of a group of people that have actually, opened up and invited me in immediately. I've always had to find, to fight to get people to respect me. Not with the furries. And it was a breath of fresh air for me. I have got to probably about 8 good friends, maybe 9, in with the magicians that I would consider good friends. And the same, since I joined the furry fandom, I have gotten at least 12 friends, really good friends. And I've only been coming to the fandom, the fur meets, for a few months. And they've really made me feel welcome, and I love hanging out with them. The amount of stuff that furries do for charities is incredible. Like um, the charity that the Vancouver staff does every year so far is this one called OWL. OWL is an acronym for something. I don't really remember what it is. I'll put a link in the description. And just this past year, I think it was something like $3,000 or $4,000 just from that 4-day convention was given to them. And it's incredible how much how much good furries do for various animal charities. And one of the things that a lot of people do is some of them actually go to various charities dressed in their fursuits, and they get to interact with the people, and it's incredible. So you can hate on furries all you like, but fact of the matter is, we are actually good people. And yeah, I've been talking now for over 15 minutes now. So I'll leave it at that. And yeah, just wanted to say thanks for watching. And you might be seeing some more of me and Marcus here in more videos. Have a good day, night. Remember, stay possum.